Hey guys, it's Valentino. Today with a tutorial about how to embed loop points for Omnisphere 2. We all know that Omnisphere offers the new option, so that you can import your original samples into Omnisphere. But the problem is it doesn't offer any option of looping these samples. So depending on of what nature your sample is or of what length, it will be a one-hit thing or it will cease to play after 2 seconds and so on. So Omnisphere has the ability to detect loop points, which will take care of this problem, but the thing is you have to embed loop points first. Now, a lot of different softwares out there offer this function to embed loop points into your audio file, but depending on your gear and your situation, you don't want to spend money on something so minor. So I discovered this German free software. The link to this page is in the description, and I'm going to use this as a software to embed loop points, and then I show you what happens once we import the audio file that we embedded loop points into Omnisphere. So basically, since this homepage here is German, all you have to do is go to software and choose this one here, endless WAV or wave or WAV. No, it's probably WAV. And click download here. And then what happens, you will get this zip file here, and you open up the zip file, you extract the application, and that's it. You don't have to install anything. It's a very, very simple program. Once opened, the program looks like this. Yeah, it might seem very complicated, but this guy made it, so we just have to click and the program does everything for us. Now, if we click open here, what happens, you have like a folder with, well, in my case, I have a folder with different samples, like the most random things that I could think of. This software supports only WAVs files from 8 to 24 bits. So quite a lot. And if we just going to choose a sample here, what happens, you see the sample chosen here on the screen. But what also happened is that this software now has access to the folder. So if you just go to the next sample, for example, if you click the little arrow here for next, it will just choose the next file within that folder. You can also see this here. We are right now on the prototype guitar sample clean. This is why it's so low volume probably. And before that we were on the prisms sample. And then we go back here. Now, 3 things happen on this screen. You have the end loop point, you have the start loop point, and you have the start of the sample itself. And what we're going to do first, before we even start working on the sample or on the loop itself, we click on the little tool button here, and we're just going to normalize it. There we go. Now, let's listen to the sample. So what you hear in this sample is that it's a sample with a lot of distortion, with a lot of different movements and colors. And depending on what you want, maybe in this case, what we just want to do is find a rather static part of the sample that kind of is on a pitch. So when we loop it, we'll basically just have a pad on a specific pitch with the sound quality or the color of this specific sound here. So let me see. Actually, we just take the very beginning. It's a very static sound on the same pitch without too much going on. And just before this little peak here. And the cool thing is, once we figured out in which region or in which section the loop resides that we want to make use of, the software basically does everything by itself. All we have to do is hold down the control button and the shift button at the same time, and then choose the area where we want to find a loop. So let me do this real quick. So, done. What you might have seen just now is once I let go of my selection, the software itself detected 2 points where it thought a perfect loop is most likely to take place. So once I hit the play button now, play from start with the loop, it will start to sample and then loop this part. As you can hear, the loop itself is flawless. Like there's no clipping, there's no abrupt change in sound. What obviously happens is that this information here in the middle repeats itself. Like this is something that naturally happens, and this is why it still has the very repetitive quality to it. But let's say we take this for now and we want to make use of this one here. All we have to do is click save here, and something that I've noticed is we don't want to save it in the same folder as the original sample comes from. For some reason, the software has a problem with that. So we want to make use of another folder. In my case, I go to the tune folder here. And I just save it into the tuned folder as prisms, wave file, and there we go. Now, 2 things. What happened right now, the sample that I saved is basically still the same. It's exactly the same thing, just normalized and just with 2 embedded loop points. But if I would open it right now with I don't know, Windows Media Player or something, it would still play the whole sample itself. If you would want the sample to actually sound different just for playing it, you would have to change the start, and you can see it deletes whatever comes before that. Or you could say, for the ending part, you would mark this little button here, and then it would cut away everything after this once you save it. Then you have the mono option and 24-bit to 16-bit.